Imagine 6 years on a frozen, deserted island. No help, no way out, no hope, just a family and their daily battle with death. Hunger, biting cold, a shattering spirit, and yet a stubborn resolve to stay alive. This story is not a movie. It is the reality of a courage so profound that it will keep your eyes glued until the very last second. The year was 2011. Winter had just begun, but Raghav trusted his decision more than the weather. He was a man of calm nature, around 42 years old. His wife, Ananya, 38, was a strong mother who looked after every little need of her children. Their two kids, 12-year-old Aryan and 8-year-old Sia, were treating this journey as an exciting vacation. This was no ordinary trip. Raghav was traveling via the Arctic Ocean route with a supply research vessel, where he was assigned to work for a few months. He thought, why not bring the family along this time? A few moments of peace, far away from the hustle and bustle of the city. When the ship reached the open sea, there was nothing but water and sky all around. The children's faces were glowing with joy. Ananya stood on the deck, taking deep breaths of the cold air. Everything seemed normal, but the ocean does not always reveal the truth. By evening, the wind began to howl. The color of the sky started to change from blue to a grim slate gray. Panic crept into the captain's voice. The next moment, icy winds gripped the ship. The waves now looked like towering mountains. Suddenly, there was a violent jolt. The ship lurched wildly. Screams echoed through the chaos, and in that sheer madness, fate tore the family away from the ocean and threw them into the lap of a frozen, deserted island, a place from which no return seemed visible. When Raghav opened his eyes, the first thing he felt was an eerie silence. No sound of an engine, no human activity, only the whistling of the fierce wind and the sound of crashing ice. He tried to stand, but his body was completely numb. Nearby, Ananya was sitting on the ice, clutching both children tightly in her arms. As he looked around, the reality sank in. The ship was gone. There was only broken debris, a thick blanket of snow, and a vast white silence stretching as far as the eye could see. This was no seashore. It was a desolate, frozen island. The air was so freezing that even breathing caused pain. Aryan's lips had turned blue, and Sia was shivering uncontrollably. Ananya's voice trembled. Raghav, something will happen to the children. Raghav dragged whatever he could find from the ship's wreckage, wood, tin, plastic, and gathered it in a corner. His fingers were frozen, but stopping meant death. Somehow, he managed to build a makeshift shelter and laid the children inside. As night fell, the temperature dropped even lower. The darkness was so profound, it felt as if even the sky had abandoned them. Nobody slept that first night. Every passing minute brought the terrifying fear that their next breath might be their last. That night, Raghav made a silent promise to himself. Even if I have to fight alone, I will keep my family alive. That was the first night they realized this wasn't just an accident, but the beginning of a 6-year war. Morning came, but the sun brought no warmth. There was only a faint light reflecting off the snow, piercing their eyes. They had survived the first night, but their true enemy now stood before them: hunger. Raghav woke the children. As soon as Aryan got up, he asked, Papa, when will we get breakfast? The question pierced Raghav's heart like a knife. He had no answer. He began walking toward the broken debris of the ship again. Every step felt heavy, as if the snow was grabbing his feet and whispering, "Stop right here." In the wreckage, he found some canned food, 2 tins of soup, a few biscuits, and a chocolate bar. In the face of a 6-year battle, this was practically nothing. But for that day, it was life itself. While distributing the food, Ananya lied to the children, "There is more food. We will eat it later." This mother's lie was meant to protect her children, but internally, Ananya was breaking down. By afternoon, hunger began to turn into headaches and dizziness. She said in a weak voice, "Mummy, I am feeling very cold." Raghav took off his jacket and put it on her, while he himself kept shivering. That day, Raghav realized for the first time, cold kills a person, but hunger breaks them slowly from within. By evening, the faces of all four had changed. There was fear in their eyes, weakness in their bodies, and a single question in their hearts. Will we stay alive until tomorrow? This was the day survival stopped being just about the circumstances and became a battle against oneself. After the third night, the cold was no longer just an enemy. It had become a punishment. The wind blew relentlessly, as if trying to grip the entire island and kill them slowly. Raghav's fingers were completely numb. There was no strength left in his legs. Every movement brought agonizing pain, but stopping was not an option. At dawn, he saw that ice had formed on the inside walls of the shelter. Their breath turned to vapor, which then froze onto the walls. Shia was in the worst condition. Her body was burning with fever, yet her hands and feet were as cold as ice. Ananya sat holding her close to her chest, terror vivid in her eyes. Raghav understood if a fire wasn't lit today, no one would survive. He went back to the wreckage, gathering frozen wood, broken wires, and oil-soaked rags. His fingers were scraped and bleeding, and the blood froze the moment it hit the snow. After several desperate attempts, a tiny flame flickered to life. That fire wasn't just warmth, it was hope. For the first time, a look of relief appeared on the children's faces. She said in a faint voice, "Papa, it feels good now." That night, the four of them sat huddled close to the fire. Outside, the storm roared, but inside, a family stood united in their stubborn will to survive. Raghav now knew that this battle was not a matter of days, but of years, and the cold was going to test them every single day. Time was now flowing in months rather than days. The snow kept falling, melting and freezing all over again. In this brutal cycle, a whole year passed. Life had come to a standstill on that frozen island, but the waiting continued, waiting for a sound, a ship, a human being. For the first few months, Raghav would climb to the highest point of the island every morning. Standing there, he would scan the ocean, hoping that today someone would appear. Every day he lit a fire, created smoke, and waved his hands. But in response, he received only silence. Procuring food had now become a routine. Raghav had learned to catch fish from beneath the ice. Sometimes, he would find the carcass of a dead seal, which wasn't easy for him to cut open, but his children's hunger outweighed his inner hesitation. Ananya often cried while preparing the food, making sure the children couldn't see her. The children were no longer the same. The childhood spark in Aryan's eyes had begun to fade. She became unusually quiet, as if she understood that crying would change nothing here. After 1 year, the truth was starkly clear. No one was looking for them. This wasn't a temporary entrapment. That night, for the first time, Raghav averted his eyes from the ocean. Hope had weakened, but responsibility was still very much alive. As the second year began, the most dangerous enemy presented itself: the mind. Fighting the cold and hunger was still manageable, but the absolute silence breaks a human being from within. The days felt identical, and the nights felt even longer. Time lost all meaning. Ananya was no longer her usual self. She would stare at the snow for hours without uttering a word. Many times Raghav would try to talk to her, but in response, he would only get a faint smile. That smile was haunting because it carried profound exhaustion and defeat. One night, Ananya said in a soft voice, "Raghav, if I fail to wake up one day, make the children stronger than me." Hearing this, Raghav's breath hitched. For the first time, he felt the weight of death spoken aloud. Aryan had now learned hunting and fire-making alongside his father. Responsibilities had fallen upon his shoulders way ahead of his age. Shia's laughter had vanished completely. She would often sit silently next to her mother, as if terrified that she might lose her. By the third year, there came a day when Raghav himself was on the verge of breaking. He thought, "Will anyone truly ever find us?" But the very next moment, he looked at his children. That day, he realized that if hope died, everything would die. And so, even if he had to do it completely alone, he had to keep hope alive. The fourth year began without any warning. The sky suddenly started hanging heavier, and there was an eerie restlessness in the air. Raghav knew a massive storm was brewing, but this time, there was nowhere to run. That night, the wind speed was so violent that the shelter began to shudder. Snow slammed against the walls like hammers. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed, and a portion of the shelter collapsed. The freezing wind rushed inside. The children screamed. The next instant, everything turned white. A deluge of snow swept in, and Aryan lost his balance, tumbling outside. Without a second thought, Raghav dashed out into the storm. The wind was so ferocious it was difficult to even stand, and keeping his eyes open was painful. Raghav heard Aryan's voice, weak and muffled. He was buried under the snow. Raghav began digging through the snow with his bare hands. His fingers were torn and bleeding, but stopping was impossible. Every second of delay meant death. Finally, he grabbed Aryan's hand and pulled him out. When they collapsed back inside the shelter, Raghav was weeping loudly and unashamedly, clutching his son tightly to his chest. Nobody slept that night because everyone understood that staying alive on this island now required nothing short of a miracle. By the beginning of the 5th year, everything had become severely limited: strength, food, and most of all, hope. Their bodies were moving, but inside everyone was thoroughly exhausted. The winter now felt deeper than ever, as if the island would never let them leave. Shah had grown incredibly weak. Her weight was reduced to half, and deep dark circles had formed under her eyes. She spent most of her time sitting near the fire, staring out at the ocean. One day, she asked softly, "Papa, does the world still remember us?" This question shook Raghav to his core. Food was now hard to come by. Fish had become scarce, and so had game. Often, entire days would pass without eating anything. Ananya rarely spoke now, but every morning she would fix the children's clothes, as if it were her daily duty, her final anchor to sanity. Raghav initiated his old effort once more, signaling. Every morning, he would climb to the highest peak of the island, burn wood and oil, and create smoke. His eyes would pierce through the ocean horizon. Every day brought the same question: will anyone see us today? Multiple times he hallucinated seeing something moving in the distance, but each time it turned out to be an illusion. The 5th year passed in this agonizing wait. Hope was incredibly frail, but it was still burning, just like the fire Raghav refused to let die every day. It was a cold morning in the 6th year. The sky was clear, but the wind carried the same old indifference. Raghav woke up first, as always. His body was racked with pain, and his fingers still wouldn't bend properly. Yet, like any other day, he walked toward the highest point of the island for the signal. That day, something was different. The smoke was rising straight up, and the wind was carrying it far out across the ocean. Raghav's eyes suddenly froze. Out on the distant horizon, there was something, a tiny silhouette. At first, he thought it was just another illusion like all the other days. He rubbed his eyes and looked again. The shadow was moving, gradually becoming clearer. It was a ship. In that instant, Raghav's body went completely numb. For the first time in 6 years, his heart pounded so violently that breathing became difficult. He screamed, waved his hands frantically, and threw more wood into the fire. The smoke grew thicker and darker. Down in the shelter, Ananya heard his shouts. The children ran outside. All 4 of them wept bitterly, clinging to one another, terrified that this dream might shatter. The ship began to alter its course. There was no doubt left. They had been spotted. When the rescue boat reached the shore, Raghav collapsed to his knees. After 6 long years, they finally encountered human voices and human hands. It wasn't just a day of rescue, it was the day they reclaimed their lives. When they were brought aboard the ship, walking wasn't easy for any of them. Their bodies were emaciated, their faces gaunt with hollow cheeks, and the exhaustion of 6 years was visibly etched into their eyes. Doctors wrapped them continuously in blankets and provided warm fluids. But the true cold wasn't settled in their bodies. It was frozen deep within their memories. As the ship sailed away from the island, Sia looked back. She said softly, "Papa, we suffered a lot of pain there, but we were all together." Raghav's eyes filled with tears. He knew that the island had both broken them and bound them inextricably together. Upon returning to civilization, the world felt drastically changed. The mobile phones, the noise, the crowds, everything felt overwhelmingly fast. After living in absolute silence for 6 years, this noise was jarring. Ananya would wake up startled in her sleep for many nights. Aryan would panic at minor noises. Shastil suffered from the illusion of feeling freezing cold. But they were alive, they were together, and that was their ultimate victory. Raghav often tells people just one thing: we didn't just return from a frozen island, we returned by refusing to give up. This story was not merely about survival, it was a story of family, love, and that stubborn human resolve that keeps a person alive even in the face of death. So friends, how did you like this survival story? Do let us know in the comments, and if you liked the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.